brought to you by Bethel School of Technology. Learn more at betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.
My overall question is, I am not sure if I am burnt out or if I should just completely switch and do a career change here. Backstory, I've had about 5-ish years in accounting. I don't feel like I've done very great work in it. I couldn't keep up, and I feel like I kind of crashed and burned at my last job. Was caught up in a layoff a couple months ago, and I'm thinking about pivoting into finance. I'm not feeling super confident about being able to meet the requirements, and I don't have a ton of references. So overall, I feel kind of jaded, and I feel like I've developed a bad attitude and wonder if it's time to just go full 180 in a different direction here.
Feels like that to me, based on the way you just laid that out. I thought you laid it out really well. I think you're being pretty honest with me. And so it tells me that there's just not a direction that you have been, let me put it this way, there's not a direction forward based on the lanes you've been in up to this point, and that's why you're jaded. It's kind of like, really? I got to eat another rice cake? You know?
Yeah.
That's my best. You're laughing, so I think we hit the nerve there, right? It's kind of like, who gets excited about rice cakes? I know I don't. And so you're kind of like, I've had that before, and it just wasn't good. Is that about right? Am I getting it?
Yeah, that sums it up pretty well.
Well, then there's no question. If I run into somebody like that, it's like, okay, what's chocolate cake for you, man? Right? Like, what's that work that you're wired to do? You know, that you're really good at. You really enjoy it when you're in the middle of it, and it creates a result that you actually care about. And that's my entire methodology. And I don't think you've ever experienced that. Would that be true?
Yeah. I think I've had flashes of it throughout my career, but nothing.
Take me back to the flash. Okay, good. Take me back to the flashes. What was going on? What was the work? Just kind of working on outside data, I guess visualization, using the data from accounting and building that into a report, and just finding different creative solutions through Excel in order to make that happen. I did really enjoy that work, and since being laid off, I've taken a couple of courses on it. But I do feel like that kind of blends into the finance pivot, and the more I look at the job descriptions, the more I think I don't know if I could really handle that. But one thing I have been looking at is like a radiation tech school, and maybe just being out of an office might help. Although before we get to radiation, and I like that, before we get to radiation tech, it feels like where this thing starts to go off for you in a negative way is when we start getting into the numbers part of it. But it feels like the part that you described to me was an analytic type, data analytics. It feels like it's got what I heard in there was a little bit of analysis, but then a little bit of creativity to kind of project and maybe go, okay, based on this, I think it felt like it had some of that. It wasn't straight analytics. There was something else there. Is that true?
Yeah.
How would you describe that? What's that combo? So I'm analyzing and then I'm what?
Visualizing and explaining and
yeah. So let me ask you this.
Somebody.
So that doesn't always, in fact, I think if you're having to do that with numbers, I think there's something off there. That's just not your game. Am I right?
Yeah.
But give me something. Okay, but give me something that you would analyze and then make suggestions based on that your brain wouldn't, lock up on you or glaze over.
I think looking at business processes is kind of a weird niche, I guess. But,
it's actually not. When I start thinking about people that are analyzing how processes could be better, I mean, you could be a project manager. You could be somebody who is in the operations sides of things, like it's just all about business ops. But see, that's not numbers. That's more efficiencies and processes like, okay, here's what we saw. When we used this process, our production was down by 37%. That number doesn't bother you because you're not in the accounting side of things. You're actually looking at operations. I think that's an interesting play for you. I don't know that you've done a lot of that. True or false?
Yeah, that's true. I haven't really been in that
in that world.
But it feels like there's some transferable skill and experience in your past, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Okay, let's go to the medical. Let's go to the technician side. But I just wanted to spend a little bit of time to go. If I were to put you in a role where you're analyzing and making suggestions and things of that nature, and it's not a bunch of number crunching, I think you're loving that. So just consider that. Now let's go to what did you say? The radiologist or no? It's a X-ray tech. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that. You think what makes you think that that's going to be something that you're good at, something that you enjoy, and something that creates a result that you care about?
Yeah, I think the last thing you said is the result you care about is a lot more something I would enjoy out of rather than here's a report. But I think working with a different person, every hour you're bringing in somebody new and kind of walking them through something that's pretty scary for them.
I love
or,
this.
You're just dealing with maybe their worst day.
I love it. But you know what's coming out right now? There's a big people part of you. I think people and process is your combo. People work and process work. In fact, it's process work on behalf of people. That's what I think. How's that hit you?
Yeah, that feels exciting.
Yeah. All right. So here's one other thing I want you to do before you make a decision on this. And I write about this in the proximity principle. I want you to find somebody. Let's do two somebodies. I think two somebodies who actually do this work. Can you do that?
Yeah, definitely.
All right. And I want you to ask them. Now, because it's medical in nature, you may not be allowed to shadow them, but I'd certainly ask because it's a straightforward answer. If it's allowed legally or from a procedure standpoint, then they'll say yes. But I would ask if you could shadow them. If you can't shadow them, you take them to lunch. And I mean, you literally reduce it down to a 6th grade term paper. And you ask them every question you would need to get an answer to write a term paper on what they do every day.
Okay.
And you see why I'm saying that? Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
I want you to know the good, the bad, and the ugly. And I want you getting more than one person for feedback because you could find somebody who's got a bad attitude and they could sour you on this position. And they may not be happy in it, but you'd be thrilled in it. So you got to stick to questions that are not about their emotions, but just, okay, what do you do day in and day out? What do you spend the most of your time doing? Right? And what's the most difficult thing? And so you need to get a good snapshot of what this looks like. And I think it's as simple as you get all that feedback on what their day looks like. And then I want you to go do your homework on the training. How much is that going to cost? How long will it take? By the way, nobody cares where you get the training, so don't go for the champagne version of the training when the beer version will do. You with me?
Yeah.
And so that's going to get you to the point of, okay, where's my heart on this? And if the heart is going ding, 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 in that we know we can get it done and we know that we'll enjoy doing it, now all of a sudden it's game on. Let's go. And don't overthink it at that point. So that's your homework assignment. And by the way, I would come back to my original coaching on the first issue and don't quit on this process work. So look at the tech, the X-ray tech, look at that. But also look at other jobs now that are not accountant related, but are process related and operations related. I think you might find some good stuff there as well. So you're a good man. I really appreciate the call, Daniel. I don't think you're far off, but yes, it's time to get out of the field you've been in. No need to ever go back. We got enough evidence. Launch your tech career today at betheltech.net/Ken Coleman.